Find Mom.
At 1 a.m., my 6-year-old granddaughter called me in tears, urgently pleading. Caught off guard by the suddenness of it all, I listened intently. My daughter had been married for 7 years, and this was the first time such an alarming situation had arisen. The urgency in my granddaughter's voice indicated that something serious had occurred. "Where's Dad?" I asked, trying to soothe her trembling voice. But what she revealed next left me utterly speechless. A few years after my husband's passing, I had been living alone, finding solace in the weekly visits from my neighbor's granddaughter, Mia. Every Saturday, my daughter and son-in-law would bring their family over to spend time with me.
"Hi, Grandma."
Mia, who turned 6 this year, has an affectionate personality. As soon as I open the front door, she greets me with a smile and hugs. My daughter Olivia and her husband Michael also find her endearing, and we all watch over her with smiles. My daughter got married 7 years ago. I vividly remember the moment when she blushed and shyly introduced Michael to me. After a brief conversation, I sensed that although he was reserved, his gentle demeanor would surely make him cherish my daughter. I wholeheartedly supported their marriage. Soon after, they had a child, and my daughter and son-in-law's life seemed blissful. They kindly considered even my solitary living situation. How wonderful it is to see Olivia happy. However, that peaceful life was not destined to last forever. Little did I know that I would soon be entangled in an unimaginable event. The first sign of trouble came on a Saturday. When my daughter and granddaughter visited as usual, their expressions were unusually somber.
"Michael couldn't make it again today due to work."
She furrowed her brows, her smile strained. It was true, my daughter and granddaughter had been visiting more frequently, but I hadn't seen Michael in a long time. Does she feel lonely without her husband? I entertained such casual thoughts until that fateful moment after lunch. Olivia stood in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, helping me wash dishes. And then, I saw it, the shocking sight that made my eyes widen.
"What happened there?"
I blurted out, catching Olivia off guard. She quickly concealed her arm. The fresh burn marks on the inside of her arm were unmistakable.
"It's just a cooking mishap."
"But how could you get injured while cooking?"
"Really, it's nothing. Please don't make a fuss."
"But I can't ignore such a severe burn."
Despite my persistence, Olivia stubbornly insisted it was nothing and eventually fled the living room. Her behavior was far from ordinary, leaving me deeply unsettled. I approached my granddaughter, who had been playing there. "Hey, has something happened to Mom lately?" Mia hesitated, her gaze wandering, and then she looked down and spoke softly.
"Mom and Dad have been arguing a lot lately."
Though still young, her words were enough to convey the gravity of the situation. It seemed that my daughter's husband was somehow involved in their somber demeanor. Later, when Olivia returned, I tried once more. "Has something happened with Michael?"
"It's really nothing. Please don't worry."
Yet, she remained evasive, leaving me with lingering anxiety. Feeling restless day by day, 2 weeks passed, and it was finally the weekend.
"Grandma, I want a kid's cell phone."
As soon as Mia arrived at my place, she energetically made her request. It was unusual for such a well-behaved Mia to ask for something, and I was initially surprised. However, when I checked the calendar, it all made sense. You see, Mia's birthday was just a few weeks away. But Mia is only in 1st grade. Is she too young for a cell phone? Despite my reservations, my genuine desire as a grandmother was to grant her wish. As I pondered my response, Olivia, who seemed to read my thoughts, calmly spoke up.
I'll chip in half, so can we buy it for her? It comes with GPS, which is quite convenient.
According to my daughter's explanation, although the kid's cell phone was named as such, it didn't connect to the internet. It was designed solely for communication. Many parents provided their young children with these phones for emergencies. Well, if that's the case, let me buy it for her. Relieved by her response, I promptly visited the cell phone store that day and gifted Mia the kid's cell phone. I registered my and my daughter's phone numbers as a trial, and Mia was overjoyed.
Thank you, Grandma. I'll take good care of it.
Seeing her bright expression after so long, I felt a sense of relief. Little did I know that those feelings would soon vanish.
Keep this a secret from Michael. He's strict about these things.
Whispering beside Mia, my daughter shared this confidential information. Startled, I shifted my gaze to Olivia, who wore a solemn expression as she stared at the kid's cell phone. Has something happened after all? I couldn't help but ask, given her intense demeanor. However, my daughter remained evasive, shaking her head weakly.
No. Mom doesn't need to worry. Everything's fine.
Her resolute refusal to say more left me speechless. What on earth is happening in Olivia's family? And then, on a day when anxiety and mystery had been building up, a decisive event finally occurred. It was 5 days after I'd bought Mia the kid's cell phone, late at night. The ringing of the phone on my bedside table jolted me awake. Rubbing my tired eyes, I checked the time. It was 1 a.m. Who could be calling at such an unreasonable hour? Still groggy, I pressed the answer button.
Grandma, find Mom.
Suddenly, a tense voice pierced my ears, jolting me awake. I checked the caller ID. It was Mia. Her personality and urgent tone left no doubt that this wasn't a prank call.
Where's Dad? Mia, what happened over there?
Considering the past few months of Olivia's somber expressions, I wondered if this might be an emergency. Mia, still sobbing on the other end of the line, uttered shocking words.
Dad hit Mom and took her somewhere.
Wait, what?
As Mia's cries echoed, darkness enveloped my surroundings. Clearly, there was a serious issue between Michael and Olivia.
I'm coming right away. Stay put.
Leaving the phone connected, I rushed out of the house. I didn't know the details, but one thing was certain, my daughter and granddaughter were in danger. 15 minutes later, I arrived at Olivia's home. The living room had transformed into a scene of devastation.
What is all this?
Toppled photo frames and shattered dishes littered the floor. It was evident that someone had wreaked havoc. Stunned, I turned to Mia, who tearfully handed me the kid's cell phone.
Mom said something to Dad, and they got into a fight.
As the video played on the screen, I was once again rendered speechless. There was Michael, grabbing Olivia, shouting,
"You probably look down on me too, don't you?"
It seemed that Mia, who had been asleep, woke up to their argument and secretly recorded the entire incident. Furious, Michael had taken Olivia somewhere. The unbelievable footage filled me with seething anger. I had allowed Olivia's marriage for her happiness. If I had known this would happen, I would never have entrusted Olivia to Michael in the first place. Unforgivable. How could he do this to my precious daughter? I'll definitely get Olivia back and make Michael reflect on his actions. Determined, I felt Mia's tears as she suddenly took my hand.
Grandma, look, Mom said to give this to Grandma if anything happens.
Looking down, I saw a single key gleaming in her small palm. Later, after explaining the situation to a relative in the neighborhood, I took custody of Mia and, clutching the kid's cell phone, headed to a certain mountain. As my daughter had explained, the kid's cell phone was equipped with GPS, allowing us to track the registered cell phone's location. Fortunately, Olivia still had the phone with her when she was taken away, making it traceable. Guided by the GPS, I arrived at this location. Navigating the pitch-black mountain path, I followed the cell phone's light. Faint voices, as if from an argument, reached my ears. "Olivia. Please be safe." I hurried toward the source of the voices, my heart filled with prayers. As I emerged into a clearing among the trees, I couldn't contain my excitement when I saw two figures.
Olivia!
Mom!
My daughter turned, her long hair firmly grasped by Michael. It was evident that he had forcibly brought her here.
Wait! Why are you here?
Clearly, he hadn't expected my arrival. Taking advantage of his surprise, Olivia pushed him with all her might. His grip loosened, and she sprinted straight toward me. But as I embraced her, my shock grew. Olivia's right cheek was swollen and red. Evidently, Michael had harmed her. My anger surged, and I stepped forward, glaring at him.
How dare you treat a woman so horribly?
Olivia's always mouthy. She's the problem.
It's despicable to take your frustration out on her just because you lost your job.
What? Why are you saying that?
Facing a dumbfounded Michael, I recalled everything that had led me here. The key Mia had handed me earlier was from Olivia's desk drawer. When I opened it, I found a multitude of documents, with a handwritten letter placed on top.
I'm sorry for keeping silent. Everything is documented here.
The letter began with unbelievable revelations. According to Olivia, Michael's behavior had changed about 5 months ago. He returned home late, intoxicated, and spent weekends away. His demeanor had shifted, and he became increasingly aggressive. Initially, Olivia attributed it to work stress and tried to talk to him, but Michael's anger escalated, and he began physically hurting her. The burn on her arm was also inflicted by him. As I read Olivia's letter aloud, I fixed my gaze on Michael, who wore a bitter expression. "You were fired from the company 6 months ago, right?"
Yeah, well, I quit because there was no future there.
"Don't lie. You embezzled company funds, and that's why you were let go." Michael stared at me, wide-eyed, shocked by my words. As it turns out, Olivia had noticed Michael's increasingly odd behavior and mustered the courage to call the company to inquire about his usual demeanor. There, she learned the truth. Michael had been fired, and the reason was shocking. The company had shown leniency, allowing him to return the embezzled $35,000 in full, which prevented any legal action. However, Michael took advantage of this situation, keeping the truth hidden from my daughter. However, burdened by substantial debt and with nowhere to turn for advice, he grew increasingly frustrated. Eventually, he began directing that stress toward Olivia. "Really, you should have consulted me from the beginning." As I gently touched my daughter's reddened cheek, she looked down, seemingly embarrassed, and tears welled up in her eyes.
I'm sorry. I thought this was a family issue. I didn't want to cause any trouble for Mom.
Olivia's strong sense of responsibility became a double-edged sword. She tried to handle Michael's problems all by herself. Knowing everything, my daughter attempted to avoid upsetting him as much as possible. She discussed the issue of his dismissal and the debt when he was in a good mood, but despite her efforts, the situation escalated into the current turmoil. However, anticipating this possibility, She had prepared a summary of the situation in a drawer and entrusted Mia with the key, just in case. In hindsight, even buying Mia a kid's cell phone was likely a precaution for unforeseen events. At that moment, relieved that my daughter was safe, I gently touched my chest. But as Michael looked at us, he began to tremble nervously.
She looks down on me, so I had to teach her a lesson. I haven't done anything wrong.
His face turned crimson as he pointed at Olivia, revealing everything. His incoherent words left me utterly exasperated.
Why on earth did you bring her all the way to this mountain?
I just wanted to leave her here and make her reflect.
The one who needs reflection is you. Losing your job was your own doing.
Shut up. Old lady, keep quiet. Don't define me.
Suddenly, Michael charged toward us, perhaps rattled by my accurate assessment. I shielded my daughter, but in the next moment, distant police sirens blared, and officers arrived swiftly, apprehending him.
What? The police?
I'm not a fool. I reported this a long time ago. As Olivia trembled, crouched down from the sudden turn of events, I gently stroked her back while delivering a cold response. When the situation had come to light, I had promptly contacted the police. Although I was initially instructed to wait, I couldn't bear it and decided to participate in the search, with the condition that the call would remain connected. In other words, everything had been thoroughly reported to the police.
What's going on? Stop it. I haven't done anything wrong.
Seeing Michael struggle futilely, I looked down at him and spat out my words.
Give up. You'll have plenty of time to reflect in prison.
He seemed to realize that resisting was pointless. His shoulders twitched momentarily under my stern gaze, and he slumped, drained of all strength. Subsequently, Michael was taken away by the police, arrested for assaulting my daughter. The video evidence of the violence ensured that he wouldn't be leaving prison anytime soon. Olivia divorced him and demanded $20,000 in compensation. Even if he were released, the accumulated debts, including the embezzled funds, would create a financial nightmare for him. On the other hand, I now live with Olivia and Mia. We're 3 women, and we plan to enjoy our time together.
How did you find this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time in the next video.